Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Another tournament, another quarter-final as Manchester United march on in Europe. Another Spanish side sunk. Premier League opposition. I'm not going to get into that. This is about Manchester United. But it's interesting what Johannes says in the live chat there. He says, you've put Ten Hag masterclass, but it wasn't. And I'm scratching my chin saying, well, why is it not a Ten Hag masterclass? Why is it not a masterclass? He's rested Varane and Shaw. We've kept a clean sheet with Maguire and Malacia. He's took most of his players off in that second half. Sabitza's come on and had a bit of game time. Sancho's had a little bit more. Pellistri's had 90 minutes, developmental. Wan-Bissaka's had a brilliant game. De Gea's made saves. Rashford scored a worldie. Not every game will be the perfect football game. But I think from a manager's point of view, across the two legs, 4-1 at Old Trafford, 1-0 away, clean sheet, goal. I struggle to see how that's not a tactical masterclass from Ten Hag. Yeah, everything he's tried, whether it's giving Pellistri 90 minutes, whether it's risking Maguire at the back, who you know, well, look, what a defensive performance. I haven't seen a centre-back performance like that since my granddad played me the 90 minutes of the 1966 World Cup final with Bobby Moore. I mean, we will never see a centre-back performance like that from anybody ever again. It was, you know, I'm joking. But on a serious note, he took a couple of risks to rest key players. For a big game on Sunday, I didn't expect us to win tonight. I knew Betis would come at us. Massive support. They didn't. They could have got the goal in the first half. They had a couple of chances. They didn't. They were well saved or well defended. And we were the better team in the second half. I think it's a really strong performance. Don't forget to do your player ratings, by the way. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. Links in the video description to do that. We'll get in that in a minute. But look, you know what? It's I said this before the game. I think it's another string in the bow of Manchester United and these players and Ten Hag, because we've had the 7-0 with Liverpool and we have to learn from that. We've won a trophy. We're used to playing every 3.5 days. We've not been knocked out of a cup yet. I mean, I've not heard anybody say that yet, but we've not been knocked out of a trophy yet. This season, we've not been knocked out of a cup tournament. We won the Carabao Cup, we're still in the FA Cup, and we're still in the Europa League. So we are a massively successful football side, especially a cup side this season. But that game tonight was a different type of game. You've got to go away from home against the big crowd. They're going to get at you, but you've got a 3-goal head start. How do you do that psychologically? You haven't got to go there and win, but you've got to go there and make sure that you don't lose and you don't give them any momentum. And I think we handled it really well. So, yeah, look, I'm going to give credit to Ten Hag and the players as well. And I like the fact that we didn't have to go as strong. And of course, you know, we've got big things coming up. I mean, look, if I'm being completely honest, and I think you have to be, Weghorst was completely ineffective in this game tonight. You know, he didn't play particularly well. But it didn't really matter. And one thing you'll always get with Weghorst, and one thing you'll always get with these players, actually, is that they'll never quit. They'll never stop, you know, stop running around. And look, that at the end of the day, we can all take the piss out of La Liga, but the point is that they are the 5th best team in La Liga. They could be in the Champions League next season. They're only 3 points off Sociedad in 4th. Did they ever look like a team in both ties that look like they're good enough to play Champions League football? And they may well do. And I think you've got to give a lot of credit sometimes to how you deal with the opposition. And Ten Hag dealt with that really well. And I must keep saying it because we keep forgetting it. This is a side that has been playing every 3.5 days since you were tucking into turkey sandwiches at Christmas. 27th of December we played Nottingham Forest. We've played 3 games a week ever since then. It's unbelievable. It's March the 16th. This has been going on for 3 months. 3 months. And, you know, it's incredible. I mean, Harry Maguire's just on the screen now. I thought he was absolute crap in the first half, and I thought he was okay in the second half. I'm not going to paint it anyway just because we've won and we've kept a clean sheet. He needs to go. He ain't good enough. That's not me. That is me. But Martinez went mad at him at the end of the first half because he's a bloody liability and he's slow. But, it didn't cost us. And in the second half, I thought he was a lot better. I'm still stuck on why Pellistri got a yellow card, says Balmer. Well, officiating seems to be as crap in the Premier League as it is in the in Europe, but it didn't massively matter. We had it against Barcelona as well, didn't we? But look, the positive for me, and I tell you what, I thought Lindelof did well when he came on. Straight into the action, more mobile than Maguire, won that header on the front post, was driving forward. I think Lindelof should be playing with Martinez ahead of Maguire anyway, but at the end of the day, I'm pleased for him. Bloody should have scored. He should have scored, but, he's very, very, very lucky to be in the England squad. But that's not our problem, that's Southgate. Wan-Bissaka was fantastic. Malacia was fantastic. Pellistri. I think Pellistri, the thing I would say about Pellistri is, and somebody said it in the chat, in the watch-along, they were like, why is everyone talking about Pellistri like he's had a good game? I think he's been quite average. And I think you're probably right, but you're missing the point. That's a lad who's right at the start of his Man United career. We've only seen cameos. He's hardly played for the club at all. He's starting a game in a European knockout game away from home in a red shirt, and he's starting a game, and he didn't look out of place. Was it vintage Messi? Of course it wasn't. But I thought he did well. I thought sometimes he got overpowered, but sometimes he skinned a player. Sometimes he put a tackle in. I thought I was very impressed with his tenacity, his physicality, and his engine, considering he's quite small. And the reason I think Pellistri did well is because if you compare that to what Anthony's been doing on the right-hand side, has Anthony done a better job? I think not. So, I think Pellistri did a good job, and you have to judge Pellistri and Garnacho in a different way because they are developmental players. And the confidence and development that Pellistri takes from a game like that, playing 90 minutes in a game like that, it will do him wonders. It will do him absolute wonders. We need a good striker and a good right winger, says Kretos. Yeah, well, we know these things, and, look, I look at the striker situation tonight, and we all love Weghorst. He's an honest, hard-working player, but he can't help the fact that he's slow. And I think in a game like that, if you had an Osimhen, that game's completely different, because that Betis defence are like, shit, we're up against a proper quick striker here. But we know we're trying to solve that problem. It's scary what United could be with 2 or 3 more depth players. It's scary, really. If you brought a Kim Min-jae in at centre-back to, he was the backup for Varane. If you brought in a De Jong and that was next to Casemiro, and if you brought in a Osimhen and that's what you had up front, that's the progress. That's the next step, isn't it? As I said, and yes, the Europa League draw will be live for that tomorrow at midday. Looking like, well, we don't know everybody yet, but the likes of Juventus, Roma, Sevilla, Leverkusen, and then obviously there's a few 8 o'clock kickoffs to go as well. But look, that's the next step for Manchester United. But the big thing I would say is, let's not forget, Man United have not been knocked out of a trophy under Erik ten Hag, and we've played in 3. We've won the Carabao Cup, FA Cup quarter-final on Sunday, and went to the quarter-finals of the Europa League. That's amazing. That's amazing when you think about the last few years. Pellistri's close control is impressive. He could be our low block breaker. You could really see the potential there, says the LVRNC. And that's the thing with Pellistri and Garnacho. They're not being brought in on 300 grand a week or 85 million quid. They're young players who have development in them. Funny you say that, because Anthony and Pellistri are the same age. I think what a price tag can do, says Alexander. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? If Pellistri and him are the same age. I feel for Pellistri because I think his development under Solskjaer was horrific. But he's still got a chance. Alanga should be judged in the same way, to be fair, says James. I don't know what you mean. You'd have to give me some more. Funny, thank you very much for that, Alexander, as well. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best in the world, says Dreams. Well, Alanga does need a loan as well, Extreme. And Neo says, look, Neo, I'm just not going to react to your comment because it's thick. This is why youth development is important, says Glazers out. The thing is, Weghorst holds the team together. but that's all it is. Underrated. I guess we just want goals, don't we? I'd prefer a boring Man United that wins things than an exciting one, says John. Look, I like Weghorst. I think he's an honest, hard-working player. The issue with Weghorst is that he's got no pace and he's not particularly good at link-up play. So his first touch isn't brilliant, his link-up play isn't brilliant, and he's slow. But his work rate is fantastic. And what we'll always have to remember with Weghorst is we knew what we were getting. We knew he was somebody that can score goals in the box, will never stop running, but isn't fast and isn't good at link-up play. So I don't like the criticism of Weghorst because we knew what we were getting. It shouldn't be a surprise that he's slow. It shouldn't be a surprise that his link-up play is not great. But without him, where would we be? Ten Hag had no money. No money. He couldn't go and get Gakpo. He couldn't get João Felix. There was no money. He found an opportunity with Weghorst, and Weghorst forced the move from Besiktas. He literally is all we've got. Like, if he doesn't play, there's not another there's no Cavani on the bench. There's no Martial on the bench. He's all we've got. So I'm grateful for Weghorst because without him, we have got nothing else. He is limited. We can't pretend he is the article that we need, but he's all we've got. And he wanted to come here, and there's nobody else. So, you know, I think there's a lot of love for Weghorst in the United fan base, but there's also a lot of realism, isn't there? And maybe he could be a good sub in the future, says Emmanuel. Yes. When will Aaron Wan-Bissaka get looked at for England, says Cole? I don't want Wan-Bissaka. In fact, we're going to do the player rating. So mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average, and you can crack on with those whilst I just answer that question. I don't want Aaron Wan-Bissaka to play for England. I don't know what the benefit is, and I'll explain that for you. If you go and play for England, are you going to go and play for a better coach and learn anything? No. If you go and play for England, are you just going to play more games and potentially get injured or tired? Yes. If you go and play for England, are you going to play in a tactical system that's anything like Man United? No. I mean, Harry Maguire plays well for England because the football is crap and it's deep and it's, you know, sometimes it's even a back five. Southgate wouldn't even get a job in the Premier League. Aaron Wan-Bissaka wouldn't be the starting choice right back either. I've said this for United for years. You know, when Ryan Giggs didn't used to get picked for Wales, I'm not Welsh, so I was like, that's good. He might not, you know. I don't actually. I've got to be honest. I don't think as Manchester United fans we're like Liverpool. Like Liverpool, it's like they don't even see themselves as English. You know, they're focused on Liverpool Football Club. But I have been like this in the past with Sir Alex, and Sir Alex used to be the same. I don't really care if a player doesn't get called up for England or Brazil or anything else like that because they get 2 weeks off. I understand that they want to get called up and I'm happy for them. But if Rashford hadn't been called up, I'd be over the moon. If Bruno wasn't called up for Portugal, I'd be over the moon because they get 2 weeks off. So I don't want Wan-Bissaka to get called up for England. I want him to be happy in a Man United shirt, being developed by Ten Hag, being appreciated by this fan base because, to be honest, no one expected that to happen. I don't want Southgate getting his hands on him at all. Pellistri played really well, needs more game time, says Martin. And do you think Martinez or Lindelof could fill Casemiro's role, says Ryan? Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be very interesting. I was very happy to see Sabitzer come on. Nice, tidy, consistent player. McTominay didn't come on. Does that mean McTominay's starting against Fulham? I personally think we need to go with Fred and Sabitzer because I'm worried about that Fulham game. I think that Fulham game's going to be tough. I think that's exactly why he kept Varane and Luke Shaw out, to give them fresh legs on Sunday. So it's going to be a tough game, that Fulham game. I can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. Ladios says Sabitzer was brilliant. Yeah. Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way. Let's do the player ratings then. So we've got David De Gea, probably a 7 for me. Yeah. Oh, high five. Let's see if we can. I'm going to try and challenge myself to be close to you. So 7, 6.9. That's good. Yeah, look, I tell you what. I always wait till full time. David De Gea's distribution off his feet today was really good. There was 2 passes where I went, because you couldn't see, the camera wasn't moving quick enough. I was like, fucking hell, where's that going? It's a 40-yard pass and it was into feet twice. I thought, that's good. Made 2 big saves as well. That one-on-one where the striker ran off Maguire and Martinez was fuming. I thought De Gea was good tonight. You need that. Wan-Bissaka, I'd probably give him a 7.5. Ooh, we're just out. I thought Wan-Bissaka was really good tonight. His energy was brilliant. I always give Delo and Luke Shaw credit for going back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. But Wan-Bissaka did that tonight. He couldn't go forward without knowing he had to sprint back because he couldn't leave that gap because Maguire's there and people will exploit it. So he protected Maguire. He defended well. You know, he's got a young player in Pellistri ahead of him. So he protected 2 players today. You know, he was there for Pellistri and he was there for Maguire. And also had a very good game himself. So I was very impressed with Wan-Bissaka. He's got to be a man of the match contender. For Maguire, for me, I'd probably give him a 5.5, 5.7 from you. Look, I can live with that. Second half, I thought he was okay. First half, I thought he was a liability. And obviously, whether you agree with that or not, Martinez obviously thought the same because he was balling him out because he kept getting run off. You know, his lack of pace is a problem. I'm tempted to say it's a little bit like Weghorst. His lack of pace is a weakness, but at centre-back, it's a bloody open goal at times. We kept a clean sheet, though. Second half, I think Betis ran out of belief and it became an easier job. I'd probably give him a 5 for the first half and a 6 for the second half, so 5.5. Rob says, leave Maguire alone. He's my mailman and he's a good mailman. He moves like a salmon, majestically leaping into the jaws of a bear, 4.5. So 5.7 isn't too bad. I'd be pleased with that if I was Maguire. Martinez, 7 for me. Yeah, we're close on that one. I agree. You know, apart from in the first half when he lost his cool, and that was because, it's not the same as playing with Varane in kind words, but he's so aggressive. He's so aggressive. He reads the game so well. His passing is brilliant. He's just such a good centre-back, and I know he got put on his arse against Liverpool, but as I said, I've seen Vidic get put on his arse by Torres. Doesn't stop him being a fantastic centre-back. So good performance from Martinez. You'd have to have him as a contender for man of the match as well. I thought Malacia was a 7 as well, and I'm glad that people are giving him the credit. I like Malacia. I really like Malacia. I think it's been a really good season for him, and hopefully it can get better. But look, he was brought in as a young player on the cheap. Nobody really heard of him. Ten Hag knew about him. 100% a developmental signing, and for a first season at Man United, he's been our starting left back for a little bit. Then he's lost his place. Luke Shaw took it back, and then he's come in and deputised really well, and he's getting more and more consistent with that. I mean, when Luke Shaw was playing at left centre back, it was Malacia who was left back doing well. He's getting better and better, and tonight was a really, really strong performance from him. I like him. I think Ten Hag's right. We've got 2 good players in a lot of positions, and as Jonas says, at the moment he's a fantastic deputy for Luke Shaw, and if he keeps developing, I mean, look, if this is Malacia in 8 months, in another 8 months' time, he might be pushing Luke Shaw really hard out of the team. So, look, Casemiro today, it's a shame we're not going to see him play for a few weeks now. In fact, it's a bloody joke, but probably a 7. He is what he is. I mean, you'd almost think it was a 6, but an average performance for Casemiro is a great performance for everybody else. He's just so good. I mean, it was his pass to Rashford. I know Rashford's still got a lot to do, but it's his passing range is brilliant. His energy, his reading of the game, his protection of the back four, he's everywhere. And we're going to miss Casemiro on Sunday, big time. Fred, probably a 6.5 for me. I don't think it was as bad as some people want to say it was. He started off first 10 minutes a bit all over the place, but then he settled. And Fred's going to be really important on Sunday. So hopefully he's got more gears to go through, because we're going to need a good performance from Fred on Sunday. But I thought he was okay tonight. I don't think it was a bad performance. Bruno for me was a 7, and I'm glad to see that people have given him a higher score, because I think sometimes people don't realise. I mean, Bruno could have had 2 goals and 2 assists tonight if we'd have actually sorted out our finishing and our passing. I don't know how Bruno does this, by the way. I don't know how he keeps this energy up. Unbelievable amount of minutes that he's played. I mean, he's probably played nearly every bloody minute since Christmas. But so important for us, and a good game. And he showed a lot of experience today. So very, very, very happy with Bruno Fernandes. Pellistri, I wouldn't go mad. I'd give him a 7. Yes, high 5. Yeah, look, we don't need to overhype it, but I think that's a fantastic performance for a young lad playing away from home in a Europa League game on the right wing. You look at when Alanga comes on, and he's had a lot more chances than Pellistri. And whilst with Alanga, there's moments where you think something's going to happen, he'll then give the ball away. And I think that at no point did you feel like Pellistri's putting in that sort of a performance. He was wrongly booked. It was a ridiculous booking, but he didn't let that stop him being tenacious and putting a tackle in. And I think there's, with Garnacho injured, there's a player there in Pellistri who really, hopefully, should be getting more game time now. Because you've got Rashford off the left, maybe Anthony off the right, and for me, the next option should be Pellistri. But we'll see whether that happens or not. Casemiro can't play on Sunday because he's suspended for the next 4 games because of the ridiculous red card at the weekend. Okay. Marcus Rashford, probably, it's difficult. I don't know whether I'm going to get this right here, because on the one hand, that goal is world class. On the other hand, I thought his passing was sloppy. There was a couple of times he could have slipped people in and he just misjudged the way to pass. Obviously, he missed a couple, but that's going to happen. But what I would say about Rashford is, and I said it in the game, if you are an up-and-coming player, or in anything, you could be a golf player, snooker, could be doing your driving test. Marcus Rashford does that. Well, you might understand what that means, but just look at that game tonight. He slipped through one-on-one. I think it's Bruno. Slipped through one-on-one. He should score, and he hits the orbit. It's a horrific miss. It bobbles, and it's a horrific miss. The next time he gets the ball, it's not a tap-in. He's, 30 yards out, and he smacks it in the bottom corner. That is the mentality to have. If at first you don't succeed, try again. More importantly, don't let the misses drag you down. Go again. And that's, you can do that, and we know what that means, but ultimately, it's what you do on the pitch that matters, and that's the difference with Rashford now. Last season, I think he misses that big chance and he's like, it drags him down. Literally goes and shoots from 30 yards into the bottom corner on his next chance. That is mentality king. That's what you do. You're not owned by your misses. You're defined by going again. And it was fantastic. So I'm tempted to give him a 6.5, really. And a lot of people are giving him a 7. That's fine. But I'll probably give him a 6.5 because it feels wrong to give him the same score as a Malacia and a Martinez who had a consistently really good 90 minutes, whereas Rashford scored a worldie. So it's where I get it, but I do think Martinez, Malacia, Wan-Bissaka had better overall games. Weghorst, probably a 5.5 for me. I've got to be consistent. I gave Maguire a 5.5, so I'd give Weghorst a 5.5. It was below average. He puts the work in, but it wasn't really his game apart from the work rates. It didn't really work out for him that well tonight, but, grateful to have him, and, he's been a real asset for us in recent weeks. Sabitzer, really liked it, 6.5. I thought he came on and really, really, really did well, so glad to have him back. Jadon Sancho, probably a 6. Yeah, good bits, greedy bits. I'm patient with Sancho. I don't understand the whole, he's a flop. I don't understand this, he's a genius. At the end of the day, I think he's potentially a really, really good player. But he missed 3 months of the season and he wasn't injured. There was an issue there. That's really rare in football that a player goes off for 3 months in the season. So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I think we've got to be patient about it. I think he's got the right manager. He's got the right team around him. He's got the right fan base behind him. I think with Sancho, it's just, let's be steady about it. Let's be realistic about it. He's got a big challenge ahead of him. Where does Sancho start in this team? Because you can't have a player who costs £75 million, who's on 300 grand a week, sitting on the bench. He's got to find a way into that team. The worst thing we can do is pressurise that. We've just got to be patient with it and see what happens. Alanga, I'll give him a generous 6. Delo, 6. Lindelof, I actually would give Lindelof a 6.5. I thought he came on and did really well. You know, it's hard to come on as a centre-back and shine in 20 minutes. But I thought he came on, he won that header on the front post, he was aggressive, he was driving forward. Yeah, I thought Lindelof came on and did well. I've got to give him credit. Ten Hag for me, 7.5. Yeah. Yes, we're so close tonight. We're so close. Yeah, I mean, look, I've spoke about it already, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. But Ten Hag tonight was, you know, that's what good management is. It wasn't vintage Manchester United, but it was tactically really, really good. Picked the right team, rested the right players, took the right players off at the right time, got minutes for the game for people like Sabitzer, gave Pellistri a full 90, beat 5th place La Liga side away from home, won both games in the knockout stage, still in all 3 trophies. Look, and we're playing every 3.5 days, which people should not be forgetting. It's an amazing achievement from Manchester United, and Ten Hag has driven that, and he's driven it really, really well. So I can't not give the manager praise for that tonight, because I think it's fantastic. I've got to give man of the match. Now, this is interesting. Where do we go with man of the match here? Well, where are you going to go with your man of the match? I'm sort of, I'm caught in two minds here. I could give it Pellistri, but I think that there's 3 for me I want to give it to. I'm either going to go Malacia, Martinez, or Wan-Bissaka, and I'm going to go Wan-Bissaka. So let's have a look what you do. Drum roll, please. Submit your votes. Rashford. Wow. I'm disappointed with that. And I love Rashford. I'm disappointed with that, because that's not right, in my opinion. It's low, which shows you it's close. Wan-Bissaka actually got 19% of the votes. Martinez got 15% and Malacia got 14%. So it was really spread out. Even De Gea was quite high. But, I mean, look, this happens. This used to happen with Rashford. It used to happen with Alan Shearer. You score a goal, you score a good goal, and a lot of people will give man of the match. I guarantee you BT who did BT give man of the match to? Did anyone see? This happens. This is what happens in life. You give it to, it tends to go to the goal scorer. But across the game, and I think Rashford would agree with this himself, did Rashford have as good a 90 minutes as Wan-Bissaka or Martinez or Malacia? Not for me. But you score the goal, you get the prize. It's always been the way. This is why everyone used to want to be a striker when I used to play. So it was close. Look, he's not won it by loads, and literally 22% is a very low score to win man of the match. So it was spread. I think Wan-Bissaka would have won that if Malacia hadn't played well as well, because they've destroyed each other there. But look, fair play to Rashford. It's a world-class goal. So well done to him. Don't forget to smash a like on the video, by the way. And we're going over to the studio now. I can't remember who's in the studio. I know Kev's there. I think Faz is there. Let's go over to the studio. And Wan-Bissaka, so unlucky not to get it. Big shout out to Malacia. And don't forget, we've got the draw for you at midday tomorrow as well. I'll see you over on the forum. Speak to you in a bit.